Should the Panthers extend Diontae Johnson?
Yes.
And like now?
Now.
Really? Before he plays it down for him?
I'm joking a little bit, but if you ask a lot of the fan base, some of them would say yes if the Panthers can afford to pay him.
Here's the thing. It would be a question of what can you afford. Should the Panthers get ahead of the money and pay Diontae Johnson? Because right now, if you believe everyone at mandatory minicamps, if you believe Dave Canales, if you believe the consensus, Diontae Johnson is everything they dreamed he would be. He's making the plays in mandatory minicamp. He's been great around the facility. He's working with Bryce Young. If you believe what they're selling us, Diontae Johnson has been great. Does that mean it's a guarantee he's going to have a massive season? No. Does that mean it's a guarantee he's going to find the end zone more often than he's done early in his career when he's kind of been a lot of catch, little touchdown guy? No, there's no guarantee. But there's a reason why you take that risk. And the reason why would be wide receiver money is going through the roof. We're talking Justin Jefferson breaking the bank. We're talking Amon-Ra St. Brown breaking the bank. We're talking A.J. Brown breaking the bank. We're talking all of these guys breaking the bank with different metrics, most guaranteed, most per year, most this, most that. Tyreek Hill wants a new deal. He'll likely break the bank. CeeDee Lamb wants a new deal. He'll likely break the bank. Jamar Chase wants a new deal. He'll likely break the bank. And with each one of those breaking the bank deals, just the market for wide receivers inches upwards. If Diontae Johnson has a great season this year, he might be asking for $30 million a year. Brandon Ayuk reportedly is asking for $30 million a year. He had 70-something catches for 1,300 yards.
Feels like the wide receiver market's starting to turn to the running back market.
Reverse. It seems like it's happening like to the quarterback market where whoever signs most recently gets the most money. Some are saying, and I'm sure this is what you're referring to, some are saying it should go like the running back market where that bubble's going to burst and nobody's going to keep paying them. But at the moment, it just keeps going up. I think it's very, very possible that Diontae Johnson has a Brandon Ayuk-like year. Now, is it likely? No, but it's possible. And if the Panthers think anything like that is going to happen, they might be on the hook for $30 million per year to a guy that it probably isn't worth $30 million per year, even at his best. So maybe you try to sign him to a deal at like $22 million per year now, before he has that year. And have him locked in, have team control. So in the future, it's essentially like if you sign him to a deal now, you're betting on your team. If you don't sign him to a deal now, you're kind of betting against him. Let me explain that. If they don't sign him to a deal now, which conventional logic would say don't, right? Wait to see him in your offense. Wait to see him with Bryce Young before you pay him.
Right.
But then, like, if he has 1,500 yards, if he has 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns, if he has 100 catches, suddenly you're like, those stats are really going to dig into our pocket, aren't they?
You're scrambling a little bit to cough up the change. It's like when rents do.
Selling things. I don't really need this selling.
Carolina Panthers on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah. They're on Craigslist for the older crowd. This is the risk. The risk is you sign him to a big deal and it goes poorly, right? And you'll hate yourself because you'll be paying him more than you should, and he'll have kind of that Kenny Golladay with the New York Giants deal, which was $50 million. He ended up having like 50 catches as a Giant, and you'll be so mad. But if he does play well, you'll have a wide receiver at the top of the market for a bargain basement price. It used to like when I say the conventional wisdom used to be, you're going to play him, right? The conventional logic is you're going to play him, you're going to deal with it next year. But the conventional logic is born out of a time when you were probably going to have to pay him $10 million a year, and if you had a great season, you might pay him $16 million a year.
Yeah.
Now it's if he has a bad season, and you want to keep him around, he might cost $16 million a year. If he has a great season, you want to keep him around, he might cost $33 million per year or $30 million per year. That's a much bigger difference. right? $12, $14 million per year different. That's why you have to make this decision. That's why you have to consider it.
Before the season even starts, Dan Morgan and David Tepper essentially have to ask themselves, is the risk worth the reward? Before he even touches the field in a Carolina Panthers uniform.
Here's the question they have to ask themselves. That's part of it. But what they have to do is look at each other and say, listen, you're the one calling the plays, meaning Dave Canales. I'm the one putting the roster together, meaning Dan Morgan. Do we legitimately think, like truth serum style, let's be real honest, let's shut the door, turn off our phones, check the room for bugs and microphones. Like let's have a real conversation that never leaves this room. Do we think Diontae Johnson is going to have a massive season? Because if he does, we have to sign him now before he does that. If we genuinely think it's like, he might have a big year, he might not, let's let it ride. Let's see. Let's let him make the decision for us. But if in their heart of hearts they're looking at it going, I don't see a way, barring injury, that Diontae doesn't have 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns, you got to look around and go, well, if that's the case, a 1,200-yard 8-touchdown wide receiver next offseason is much more expensive to us than he would be right now. Let's call up his agent, see if we can't make something happen.
The past is the past for a reason, but I wonder if you're in the shoes of Dan Morgan or David Tepper, you have to take a look back and see what went wrong with Diontae Johnson in Pittsburgh for a second. You have to evaluate that situation.
But you also have to look back and figure out what went wrong with Brian Burns in Carolina.
Fair enough.
Which is he kept pushing it and kept, we'll figure it out next. We'll franchise tag. We'll pick up the 5th-year option. It's like eventually you have to pick the guys you want to sign to a long-term deal, you want to build around and lock it in because the price is only going up for certain positions. If this were a running back, I would say wait. If this were an edge rusher like Brian Burns, I'd say sign him. If this were a wide receiver, I'm going I'm close. You have to seriously decide if you're going to feature him. Because if you are, pay the man.